I think somebody's been mass reporting me, but I can only think of one person that I pissed off recently that may be doing that. We can speculate on who that is, but yeah, somebody's definitely been going through, and I've had to appeal a couple things, and I've won the appeals, but they still put my account on restriction, even though I won the appeal, which is crazy to me. So yeah.
They got no rhyme or reason half the time.
So if anybody at Meta is listening, if you can help me out, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. I not only have I been getting my stuff reported, I have somebody said no feed pics. That's the problem. Maybe I should do more feed pics. That would keep me in the good graces of the Meta gods. They seem to not mind feed pics. Feet and nipple pics. Those are my two trademarks.
Yeah.
People love my feet.
Gotta know your audience.
Well, people love my feet and my funky nipple. Those are what I'm famous for. Yeah, it was really strange. I've been on restriction on Meta before. I've been in YouTube jail before. I called somebody stupid in the comment section one time. I got in trouble for that. I apologize. I don't think anybody's stupid. Well, I do, but
it just takes one person to report you, and then they open a can of worms, and before you.
Well, I think what people do is use bots, and they mass report stuff, and then it catches the AI, and then you have to have a real person appeal it. Like YouTube, there's nobody you can fucking talk to. At least with Meta, if you have a premium business account, you can talk to an account rep.
Yeah.
You can't do that with YouTube. There's this, I think at 100,000 subs you get an account rep, but there's nobody to talk to at YouTube. Yeah, it's crazy to me because I see like dudes like blatant. I've had people fake my profile and sell drugs, and I report them. And then they said we found no violations on this account. I'm like, it's a fake account. It's not even me. Yeah, I had another one. I had another situation too. So definitely somebody's after me. Somebody set up a fake thing with my e-course, and I had a dude reach out to me and said that he paid for my e-course and that he never got access to the e-course. And I looked at the PayPal receipt that he sent me, and it said Big Paul, but it was not my email address. It was some fake fraudulent account. Which is just unreal to me. Yeah, so this is the life you live when you're a low-level social media celebrity.
Yeah.
I got to be careful pissing off people in Thailand. Anyway, I'll leave. I'm not going to speak the name into existence. So there was a bodybuilding show yesterday.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The highway robbery is what it was. The highway robbery.
Yeah.
I'm so interested to hear what you guys think about a tie.
Well, they ended up in the tiebreaker giving it to Derek, which I thought from looking at it, it looked like Nick put it on even better.
Yeah.
When they came back out. I mean, he looked even better. I don't know. I don't understand that one. I will say that Derek was probably a little more crisp from behind. That's where Derek always gets people.
Yep.
Well,
like
Nick was bigger.
A little bit better.
Yeah, his glutes were in. Nick's glutes weren't quite in. There was a little bit of. I mean, he looked great. It was the best I've ever seen him look.
Yeah.
Hands down, the best I've ever seen him look. I mean, he definitely was right there, neck and neck with him. And I think he easily could have won. Probably should have won, to be honest with you. But. You know, I could see where you could maybe make an argument that Derek was better from the rear shots.
Well, I thought from the back double, I thought Nick actually had him in the back double. I think it's when the rear lat spread. I don't know if you have any picks, but you could just see there's more width. There's more width proportionally for Derek and just a little more detail. But I thought Nick had him from the back, to be honest. In my opinion, I thought the back double bicep had much more detail. Yeah, the conditioning was close. But if you really go pose to pose, you go through all the mandatory poses.
All right, let me mute this.
Being compared, I thought that you just had to give more poses to Nick.
Yeah, you could. I mean, his glutes look. I mean, they're there's a little bit of water on the glutes, or just maybe a little bit of fat. I don't know, just a tiny bit. I mean, I'm being very nitpicky. I'm not trying to. Maybe just a little. It looks like water to me. Just a tiny little bit, and his hamstrings just a little bit. But I mean, man, he looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I mean, Nick's rear double bicep is crazy.
You can maybe say later on in the show he had a tough time holding his waist in during transitions, but other than that, I really think it was a robbery. I thought that you go pose for pose. I think Nick had 5-3 on the posing.
I like how psyched up he was too, man. You could see, dude thought he had it, man. That is such a shit feeling, man. I thought he did too, man. I saw prejudging. I was like, fuck, dude, he's gonna win.
Yeah, I thought Derek had the front lat spread, the back lat spread, and then maybe the ab and thigh possibly, but
yeah, see how Derek's, I mean, just like, god damn it, man, how do you get your glutes so dry?
Yeah, so shredded.
But that's the most shredded part of his
but back. He looks a little soft on his upper back though. Yeah. That's the weird thing. I don't know, some people just, I don't know, my glutes come in before other stuff. Yeah, like I don't think he's definitely not as crisp as he normally is.
You can see that width is a little bit more dominating.
I noticed from the front too. Let's see, when he turns around, it looked like maybe he had a quad injury or something. I maybe or not. I don't know. It looked like his yeah, it looked like it was a little off.
Yep, I see that right there.
Yeah, there's like a divot. See it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought maybe a little tear or something.
I thought in prejudging his legs look a little downsized actually, and I think he caught up later on. Well,
I mean, shit, dude's done what back to back shows, 3 shows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or no, he did.
His chest looked great. I thought.
I'm trying to think how many.
His chest looked really good.
I mean, you know, when you're comparing these, I mean, these are the guys are the best in the world. I mean, it's such nuance between the two, and really, it's just a matter of it's subjective and opinion. Yeah, like I don't think he's quite as dry as he was at the Arnold. He doesn't look as crisp as he did at the Arnold, but I don't know how you maintain that level. Jesus fucking Christ, those glutes are crazy.
Yeah. But look at his upper chest. You know, look at his chest in some of those front shots compared to Nick. Nick was just striated as can be from the shoulders to the chest, especially on the side chest, the front most, you know, the most muscular. I thought Derek was a little soft on the upper body.
Yeah, it wasn't his best.
I was just shocked. I thought it kept becoming more apparent Nick was pulling ahead, and I understand the tiebreaker, and I still thought he won, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the judging breakdown is.
Oh, I've got it. They were tied.
I mean, like their feed. I mean, the feedback that.
Oh yeah. I mean, they both had a 15.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that before. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
That would hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there was a pretty big gap between. I mean, it was them. Martin was pretty big gap between Martin and then William. Kriza, he's one that always looks great on Instagram, and then it just doesn't translate to the stage.
Yeah.
You think that does a big disservice?
Stop struggling so much with his tan. I feel like his tan is always an issue.
Well, he's probably doing it himself. I don't know why the fuck anybody would do their tan themselves, especially like at a pro show. You're getting the best. These guys do it professionally. They do it. You think you're going to do it better than somebody who's sitting there doing it all day, every day for a living? You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I if I were Nick, I'd be a little upset this morning.
Yeah,
I'd feel like I probably got the shaft, but it was entertaining.
Well, I just thought that when you really add things up, I mean, when it's that close pose to pose, Nick had more size. His conditioning was some of the best he's ever had, like old Nick from the Arnold. You know, it wasn't Nick from New York last year. It was the best Nick we've ever seen and the biggest, and he had really no flaws. His presentation was great, 3 hard rounds plus comparisons, and he just got harder. So I was shocked too. I mean, I'm a little biased. I have Nick as one of my favorites, but
I mean, he's one of my favorite bodybuilders. I love the kid. He's just an amazing. He's an amazing kid. He's a hard worker. I mean, he's just like, I don't think there's anybody, you know, and I don't mean this is any sort of disrespect to him. It's complete admiration. Like I've never seen anybody do as much with the least like this guy has.
Sure.
Like you look at it, where he started, like where he came from and where he started, it's just fucking incredible.
Yeah.
That would have been a dude that if the starting picks, if I saw that kid and he came to me and said he wanted to be a pro bodybuilder, I'd be like, let's focus on placing at the local show first. But yeah, I mean, he looked amazing.
Is there any comparisons?
I'm trying to find. I'm scanning through. This is not a very good one. Let's see. I have to see if the NPC has their pictures up yet. Yeah, just look at Derek's legs. There's something a little off, especially with that left one.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that yesterday, but yeah, it's like all I can see now. It's like, yeah, there's something with the medial border of that entire. That's interesting.
It looks like there's a. Yeah, it looks like maybe there's a hole in there. I don't know. It could be nothing. It could be just the way he's put together. But they definitely look a little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe there was an injury or maybe just overdid cardio. Who knows?
If you go to Bodybuilders Without Borders, there's some comparisons of the top two.
Okay.
Side by side. It's about 20 photos down or 5-10 rows down.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pull that.
Everybody looked good though. That top four from all the way to Bonac was, I mean, even Martin and Bonac was one hell of a comparison. You know, Bonac just looked excellent too. It's hard to point.
Yeah, they both looked really good.
Yeah. I think Martin maybe had a little softness to him, but other than that, yeah, these guys just really peaked. Now, if you keep going down further, that's Nick. That's Nick and Nick.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, just keep going down. You'll see they got Derek and keep going.
And these are way down.
Right there to the left.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah, there's some, if you flip through them, got them in the front double.
Yeah, I mean, Derek just looks a little softer than he normally does. Doesn't look.
I mean, in the chest.
The chest.
Yeah, he couldn't get anything to ripple on that chest.
Yeah.
See that quad again? See what I'm talking about? It's like his vastus medialis maybe is torn or something.
Yeah, even his foot placement, like he's kind of, every time you see it, he's kind of, there's something weird about the way he's placing his foot on that side too. Now I want to go back and look at his pictures from his last show.
Yeah, look at it here again.
Yep, you can see where all those fibers are supposed to insert. Like there's definitely something going on there.
Yeah, I mean, if he battled through an injury and got out there, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Look at Nick from the side here, man. The hamstring drop, the glutes, the chest. I mean,
the size.
Yeah, Nick's got him on that one.
And his glutes from the side look so dry, but it's just that straight from behind where Derek has that extra bit.
Yeah, I could, man, the rear double is tough. That one's tough, man. Derek just looks so good. His glutes look good. His hamstrings. He's got a lot of.
Yeah, but look at Nick's separation in the triceps. I mean, starting from the top down.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I get it. You know, I remember like one of my friends is a judge, and he's like, "Don't get obsessed with the glutes. They're just one muscle in the rear shot."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Derek's lower body right there, a little bit in the ripples as he leans back. It just seems a little soft.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to Nick a little bit, and he told me that he hasn't trained arms in years. You believe that? They're just that dominant. You imagine that?
Yeah.
I need to get him on sometime.
That would be awesome.
You know, they always knock him for his quads, right? But from the backside, his quad sweep and his abductors to touch and just everything there's no gaps on Nick from the back.
Yeah, I mean,
lower body.
Nick looks better in this pic too, man.
Yeah. Did you watch the live stream? Did you guys watch?
I just catch the videos.
I mean, I thought that it was an excellent job they did with the show, and I thought that really good HD, and I thought it told the whole story. I think he looks better in the video than even in these pictures for Nick.
That's the hard part with pictures, because there is always that something that when you're actually there that you can pick up on these things that is really challenging, even in the best quality photos. But the live stream was excellent, Dave. I agree. It was very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge, just looking at pictures and video. It's definitely, you guys know from being at a show, I mean, it's clear when somebody walks out and they're the winner. Like, I mean, like when we were at the Arnold, like it was just when Derek walked out, it was like, okay. And same thing with Mike Sommerfeld. I was just like, yeah, nobody's beating him.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can see it in the way that you can see the way their muscles just ripple and the way they move. There's something about that body in motion too.
Terrence looked good.
That was a good battle too.
Yeah, Yosima looked great. My eyes kept going to him quite a bit.
The issue with Terrence is I don't think he's just quite big enough to hang with Mike and Logan and those guys, but he's got a great physique.
Mm-hmm.
He probably, I don't know where he's at as far as the weight cap goes. Like his legs just aren't quite, like you can see from the side, like his legs don't, like he doesn't really have much hamstrings. His legs need to be improved. If he was going to hang with those top guys, but he's got a great physique. I mean, so he'll be in the Olympia. I just don't think he can beat those top guys. He's probably like maybe a top 5. We'll see.
He's got those intangibles, though. His posing's just as good as it comes, and he presents his physique well. Morphs into his poses well. He appears bigger. He appears bigger than he truly is.
Yeah, I don't know what he weighs. What does he weigh? I don't think it's a lot.
I think he's like still 5 pounds under because he took all of last year off to improve and add size. Next year.
Jesus, he was 170 at his last show in 2023 and the 187 weight cap. So he was 17 pounds under, not this year, but he said he was 180 this year. So yeah, that's crazy. That's 180 pounds.
That's nuts.
Just goes to show you how structure. There's Joel. Hey, what's up, Joel? It just shows you. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw or not. I don't, I'd like to think I had a little bit impact on it, but Dan Solomon backed down on the Olympia thing with the backdrop.
Yeah, but in a really snarky way. Like
that was very
really
snarky.
Think he was being serious. I think he was kind of trolling. I don't know that.
Maybe I don't know.
The emoji. The tone.
He's like, if you guys want a black backdrop, I'll give you a black backdrop.
We shall see.
We shall see. Yeah. Yeah, that was that was just I still go back to that. I think about that again, and that was just a crazy response from a person who runs a business. Like I just like you don't blame the client.
Yeah.
The people that come to the event are your clients, man. And if you want to grow the sport, you make your clients happy. If you're telling the clients that they're going to like the shitty backdrop and they just need to deal with it, it's for the best of the sport, they're not going to support your product.
Actually, I thought this show, it was kind of interesting during the individual routines. They had kind of different backdrops going on with like all the different lasers, and it was actually a nice balance. It wasn't too wild like the smoke and lasers from the Olympia. I thought it was actually fun watching.
Hey, Paul, did you see Phil Viz mention something about secret chewing gum in relation to Kyle Wilkes? No, I didn't. I assume he was probably joking. I think Nick was chomping gum and prejudging.
Yeah.
Anabolic gum.
No, I mean I'm a gum chomper. I get it. Get some questions lined up. So guys, if you have any questions, get them in. Yeah, I don't know. Daniel, I agree with you. I think Nick won that show, but I don't know.
Well, hopefully he goes to New York next week.
How did Fitz beat Bonac? Yeah, I mean, Fitzwater was a little washed out. It's just, I don't know how these guys do shows that close together. Like, it's just tough. Like, I feel like I got maybe 1 or 2 in me a year, and that's about it. It's like, like if you were doing back-to-back weeks, I think that's easier than taking like a 2-3 month break between shows. That's like just long enough to not be productive. Yeah, Daniel said Nick won both the back shot. They usually said you went from. I don't know if I agree with the won the back shot. It was close. I don't know, man. Derek is just so good from the back shots.
I think Nick won the back double and they washed out on the lat spread. I'll call it that.
Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely be a little upset if I were Nick today. I would feel like I kind of put my best out there and like, what the fuck do I got to do? So yeah, I get that.
Well, I think he just needs to do it again. You know, I think that's sometimes the hard part with bodybuilding. You can bring your best, but somebody else brings their best too. And like,
yeah, I mean, you can only, that's why I tell people when I coach guys that are doing shows, like, I think sometimes they get disappointed with placings, and I'm like, don't worry about the placing. The competition's with yourself. And I know it's cliche, but really just be the best version of you that you can be. And if you come out and you were better than your last show, I mean, what else can you ask for? You can't control who shows up. You can't control who the judges like. You can't, but you can control your presentation. You can control your conditioning. So those are the variables that you can control. I mean, you can control your mindset. These are things you can control, but you can't control other people and what they think of you and who shows up. It's really a personal journey. So that's why I just like, don't worry about placings. I know it sounds cliche. I mean, and coming from a guy who won a pro card, I'm serious. I never really cared about the pro card. I just like competing. I like getting out there and doing, don't get me wrong, it's fun winning. But that was never a priority for me. I love the sport. I love the process. I love just the journey, meeting people. I mean, I think that's what it's about.
I think part of me enjoys the climbing the ladder too.
Yeah.
So that kind of comes with maybe not specific placings, but improving, show by show, year by year.
I agree, Tina. The backdrop of the Pittsburgh was a good compromise. That was, yeah, I didn't find that to be overly distracting. I think it was okay.
Yeah. It was fun with the individuals for sure, because it kind of was incorporated into their routine a bit.
Yeah, I think that was an acceptable balance. So, Mr. Olympia contest, take note. I really think the Arnold is the gold standard. And if you want to emulate anything, the gold standard. Yeah, and Joel Nick was greater than Derek, though. Man, I am changing the subject here. I am 3 weeks into the tirzepatide, and holy fuck, is that shit way more appetite suppressive than the red eye is.
Really?
Oh my god, it's a night and day difference. There was a couple days this week. There was it Thursday. Now I wonder why I'm 237, rather than the latest I've been in years. There was a day it was like 6 p.m. and I was thinking to myself, have I eaten today? And I'm like, no. I sat down and started working and doing my shit, and I realized that I never ate.
Wow.
I just seriously start setting alarms.
I got to get myself on a meal plan. I'm like, it's really, 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 really hard for me to be motivated when I can't go 100% in the gym. And I'm kind of an all or none guy. Like if I can't go 100%, it's something I'm just kind of like, eh.
Well, you did talk about being in a slight surplus for the recovery phase of your shoulder too. So that, that's something to keep in mind as well. Having a little extra food to recover properly. Yeah,
I know. I need to eat, especially protein. Josh says he's down 55 pounds this year on Reddit. Congrats, Josh. That's amazing, man.
That's awesome.
But Paul, now that you've done both, does the tirzepatide, does that give you that nausea effect as strong? It's more appetite suppressing, but you get that nausea effect day after.
I don't find the side effects to be as bad as they were with the Retta. I don't get the elevated pulse, which is probably the glucagon agonist.
Yeah.
I don't get the acid reflux with it. Now, granted, I'm only taking 2.5 milligrams. It's not like a giant dose or anything. But I will say this, it has not had really, I haven't seen any effect on my blood glucose levels. Like my fasting glucose levels are back up like around 100 to 110 when I get up in the morning. Whereas on the Retta, they were down in the 80s.
Mm.
So certainly the glucagon agonist had an effect. I don't know if it was from prevention of gluconeogenesis or just keeping liver glycogen dumps at bay. I don't know, but in theory, metformin should compensate for some of that. But I'm only on 1,000 milligrams of metformin, and she put me on the XR. I find that the XR metformin doesn't seem to work as well.
Yeah. Absolutely not. I mean, it helps with the GI issues, but I agree. I don't think it's as effective for actually
No,
what
I
it's
don't
supposed
think
to be doing.
I don't think the XR metformin really works that well.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
see. Oh my God! Even hearing the phrase GLP-1 gives me GI issues. Never again at any dose. I have some people that it just seems like they can't tolerate them at all.
Mm.
Yeah,
It's like any medication. Like there's going to be people who it's not a good fit for.
Yeah. Strong stuff. I mean, and if the dosing is is key too. You start too high, you're going to mess yourself up.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Josh is talking about the new GP. This was the endocrinologist I went to. I just saw a new endocrinologist. Instead of self-treating myself for diabetes. She was like, I think you might be type 2. And I'm like, lady, I am not fucking type 2. I promise you, I'm not. It's not an insulin sensitivity issue. She was like, I want to try to get you off the insulin. But she put me on a lower dose of insulin. And guess what happened when I'm on a lower dose of insulin?
Right.
My blood sugar went up. So, I'm going back up to 25 units Atlantis and using some Humalog here. I told her, like, I messaged her on the patient portal the other day. She didn't want me using Humalog at all anymore. And the other morning, I didn't really eat anything crazy. I had some eggs, just plain eggs, a fat-free Greek yogurt, and then I got a latte from Starbucks. It was supposed to be sugar-free. I'm wondering if they accidentally put the sugar in the latte, and then my glucose shot up to like 300.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it's having this glucose, the CGM has been enlightening. And it just like went up to 300, like, in the alarm went off, and I took 3 units. That's it. 3 units of Humalog, and it brought it right back down into the 90s. So, like, you tell me, if I were insulin resistant, would 3 units of Humalog bring me from 300 down to 90?
No.
So,
what about
I don't know.
With that continuous glucose monitor, do you have any weird glucose dumps at night? Do you check numbers overnight?
Yeah, I get some crazy spikes. I can definitely see it. Like, it'll get low.
Yeah.
Like not super low. It'll get down to like 90, and then it comes back up. I definitely have the dawn effect. And there is some reactive hypoglycemia too. Like, sometimes it'll shoot up high, and then I go hypo. So like my pancreas is like kind of trying to make stuff sometimes. But anyway, somebody said the Pittsburg Pro was 100K. I mean, that's why somebody was asking me, why would Derek do this show when he already qualified for the Olympia and did the Arnold? And I'm like, $100,000. That's why.
Yeah, $1 bill, y'all.
I mean, I'd show up for a bodybuilding show for $100,000. Hell, I do it for a plastic trophy.
Paul, I was going to ask you though, on the topic of the tirzepatide though, are you taking that every 5th day, or are you just taking that once a week with the pen? The same-
No, with the prescription they have me on, it's only once a week.
And do you still get like 5 days and then you feel it tapering off?
No, it seems to last longer than the Retta. I don't know the exact half-life on the tirzepatide is. Mounjaro specifically is what she prescribed me, so I'm on 2.5
it's like
milligrams.
5 days. The half-life is about 5 days. But once you get it in your system, I mean, it's with a 5-day half-life. I mean, you're talking a good month before it's completely out of your system.
Right.
So
Yeah.
once it's at its peak,
Let's see what here's
I
what
feel like if Kurt was
ChatGPT
here,
says.
he would tell us that this is a pharmaceutical. It's like the Serostim conversation. Like pharmaceuticals maybe have an edge, and maybe they should be taken as prescribed, perhaps. But
Sure.
Yeah, maybe they're a little higher quality than the peptide you're buying from a rando.
maybe, or it's the whole thing, like the storage, the maintenance of the peptide. I mean, all of those things might come into play.
Well, I mean, like when I picked it up at the store, it was refrigerated,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, you have the applicator pen, so you're getting an exact dose.
Mm-hmm.
Mounjaro. This is what ChatGPT says. Mounjaro's half-life is 120 hours, roughly 5 days. It peaks in blood plasma after 48 hours.
I wonder if your glucose stays elevated too, because maybe the GIP effect isn't as strong as well, which is supposed to help with the steady nutrient uptake.
I don't know. I thought about throwing a PPARY agonist in as well if she thinks it's insulin resistance, but I just don't think it. I just I'm lean. I'm like 10% body fat, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how could I be fucking insulin resistant? And I haven't been taking growth hormone for 6 months.
Yeah.
I just started.
That in would make you feel not great. Would be my guess.
Probably not. I just started the growth hormone back up this week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm using that for my recovery protocol. I'm doing, let's see, I'm trying 4.5 units is what it works out to be. Whatever 18 divided by 4 is, around 4.5 units. Yeah, 4.5 units.
Yeah, and if you were resistant, I think your body composition would show a little different too.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, you can see it when people get insulin resistant. You'll see it when like people are insulin resistant because they start to get soft, and then on blood panels, I'll see their triglycerides go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Someone starting out. This is from Done Deal 79. Is someone starting out in fitness and TRT? Thank you for all the great information. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Even though Meta thinks I'm a drug dealer.
That's funny.
Yeah, Daniel, I agree with you. Yes, Nick should have. That's the thing too. The money, like I would probably be pissed if I were Nick about getting robbed that money. It's a lot of money. They should both. Since it was a tie, they should both split the first and second winnings put together.
Well, they had that third round. They called Derek the winner. Winner's winner. Winner gets the winner's money.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can go from the round and say that it was tied and somebody else is a winner.
Well, they said they never did that sudden death in a long time. I think they had done it X amount of years ago, but they never had a sudden death tiebreaker for something like 20 years.
Fifth place got $10K, which was the highest number in a few years. Here's the thing with that $10,000, the cost that it is to do the damn show, that doesn't even cover the cost.
Yeah.
I spent shit. You can probably spend 10 grand on growth hormone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taking Serostim. I mean, just travel alone. Think about, if you're coming from wherever, I mean, if you're traveling into Pittsburgh and you got to get there a week early and get an Airbnb and flights and
everything, groceries,
coordinate all your food, your coaching, your coach, everything. I mean, like just the travel alone is probably $5-6 grand easy.
Oh, they hit you up a couple $100 for your tan, every little thing.
Yeah, even the pros got to pay. Like I think the IFBB membership is $400 a year.
Yeah.
So you got to have that, and then I don't think they charge entry fees for IFBB shows. At least that's not what I saw. but you got to pay for a coach. You
Mhm.
know, and coaches don't work for free, even for the pros.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then shit, your cycle's probably, depends on if you're taking pharmaceutical HGH, you could easily drop 8, 9, 10 grand on a cycle for a show.
Yeah. Oh, the last show.
Here's somebody caught me in a contradiction. Joe D. Hey Paul, video from 2 years ago say it was a waste to go above 8 to 10 units of GH a day, and now your new protocol, you will be up to 18. What changed? My mind. That's what changed. I don't run 18. Chase runs 18, so I'm still I don't go above 9 or 10 usually. What does more work? It certainly seems that way. I just can't handle more than 9 or 10. That's usually where I tap out. I went up to 18 briefly. I was trying to emulate Chase, and then I couldn't feel my hands, and I was falling asleep at my desk all day long. So.
I was just going to say, like, could you feel your hands?
Paul, what do you think about lower doses on prep though, compared to?
I don't think I ever. You mentioned in a video before your surgery you were going up to 18. If I said that, I misspoke. I never said that I was going up to 18 post surgery, or I was being sarcastic. Yeah, no, I'm using 4.5 units. That's it. I don't find a need to use more than that for recovery right now. People love to catch me in contradictions, and yes, I am allowed to change my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens. What's up, Scott? I'm sure a lot of my information is this evolved from my initial videos. We grow, we learn, we change our mind, we have experiences that shape our I think that is a sign of a flexible, intelligent person who's changes their mind and finds that some things work and some things don't. I thought Chase was crazy for taking 18 units of growth hormone, but then I've talked to quite a few bodybuilders that do. I can't personally tolerate it, and at this point there's no reason for me.
And I think you got to look at what you're doing too. I mean, that's why I was going to ask, if you're in a prep scenario, you might not need 18 units. You might just need enough to facilitate a little more lipolysis and help with recovery, so that dose is going to change depending on your goal, where you're at. Paul's in recovery stage. He's not really lifting, so there is a floating scale of what's needed at what time for what reason as well,
Yep. So hopefully that clarifies that question. Dustin's asking where's Chase at, and is he taking a hiatus from content creation? I think he's just enjoying time with his baby.
Yeah.
Joe D, this is him. I'm fan 58. You can see the next size. I'm done. Appreciate what you do, sir. No problem, man. I probably have contradicted myself many times because I do change my mind, and I try new things, and things evolve. I definitely, like, my complete philosophy on training and PEDs and nutrition have thoroughly evolved over the years. When I was in my 20s, I did keto diets. I did Mike Mentzer style HIIT training. I did DECA and D-ball only cycles. I don't do any of that. I never took growth hormone because I thought it was dangerous. I never took insulin because I thought it was dangerous, and now I'm a diabetic and I have to take it, ironically. But yeah, I mean, I've completely changed my mind on everything over the years. You hone your skill and you find what works, and sometimes what works at one point in your journey doesn't work at another.
Yeah, and from coaching, I've learned that sometimes some things I'd prefer to work with a client, for a strategy, just doesn't work for them. And even though it's not the way I like to do things, like give you an example, I like trying to manage estrogen without AIs if we can do that, but either keeping a dose manageable for testosterone or using a DHT. But for some guys that you just chase that number around all the time, where an AI just seems to do the fit, so as much as I don't like to do that, you have to find out what works, and that's just part of being a flexible coach or flexible athlete as well.
Yeah, I mean, and also, like I said, I mean, I would go out and play tackle backyard football on Saturday morning when I was 25 years old, go out and do Jaeger bombs and get high all night, and then get up and go to sleep 4 hours and get up and go to work on Sunday morning and then do it all over again. I wouldn't dare do that now. My body would not be thankful if I did. All right, let's get to some questions because I got to wrap this up in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This is going to be a brief one. Okay. If you got questions, pop them in the comment section. I'll get to them. First question here. Doing Masters Nationals, and we'll be doing Classic on Wednesday and bodybuilding on Thursday. What would you do to maintain conditioning hard, full, and dry from Wednesday through Thursday? Man, I am not a fan of doing 2 classes. I am just not a fan of that. I think you pick one, you put all your eggs. What was the? If you're familiar with Sam Walton, the guy who created Walmart, I've read his book. I think it was Made in America was the name of his biography. I'm a business nut. That's one of my things that I've run businesses over the years. But something Sam said that I thought was fantastic is he said, put all your eggs in one basket and watch over them intently. And basically go all in on your one thing. When you try to do multiple things and be good at multiple things, you end up really not being great at any of them. Is what I found out. And then here's my thing with crossing over from bodybuilding to classic. If you're not, well, part of it's structure, body structure, and I'm not trying to lecture you here. Part of it's body structure. Like some people are just made for classic. Some people are made for bodybuilding. I can just look at people.
Yeah.
And say, and people don't like hearing that, but I mean, there's just like some people are just made for one class versus the other. But if you're not over the weight cap in classic, you're probably not going to win in bodybuilding. The guys that are winning in bodybuilding would never make weight in classic, usually.
Yeah.
Especially at a national show. So you probably, and I'm not trying to discourage you, but I would say you probably have 0 chance of winning in bodybuilding if you're not at the classic weight cap or over the classic weight. So your class kind of chooses you. You don't choose your class.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, if you want to do both, once again, like I said, this is a personal journey. If you want to go out and just have fun and you don't give a fuck about being great at one or the other, and you just want to go out there and enjoy yourself, I would pick one day that you're going all in on and just use the other day as a warm up. So if you're going all in on bodybuilding, then I would just treat the first day just like as another day. I know that's how the pros do it when they have finals and prejudging. They do the car. They basically, it's like they pick, if it's a Saturday show and Sunday finals, then Sunday is the day that they go all in on drying out, because once you start the drying out process, there's really no opportunity to fill back up. Once we know all the tools that are used for drying people out, but it's really hard to fill back out once you start the drying out process. It's just been my experience.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to would be, let's say you find your look for classic on Wednesday and it's at a weight. You say I'm 195 and this gives me the best look. I would just try to replicate water and food weight all the way into Thursday, and that's really the best you can do. Try to just manipulate the smallest amount of variables. So, keep an idea on weight in the sense of water and food, and just keep that scale consistent into your Thursday show if you like the way you looked on Wednesday.
Yeah, Richard said, so classic is my main focus. Okay, so peak for classic. That's what I would do. I would peak for classic and then just don't go crazy. I probably would, what I would do is peak for classic, and then you can try to fill out a little bit for the Saturday show. Like if you don't really care about how you play, I think bodybuilding's on Thursday. You don't really care about the winning in bodybuilding, then just fill back out a little bit, eat a little bit of food, don't go crazy. And then just go out there and have fun on the bodybuilding day. Don't go out and have a cheat meal post show or anything, but just treat it like another day. That's what I would do. You're definitely going to be dehydrated after the first day, so you'll probably need to hydrate a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that's how I have guys that do back to back or It's easier if you're doing prejudging and finals, and finals is the next day. Like I have some guys that are pros that I coach, and what I'll do is just I'll focus on the finals, having them peak for finals. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back to the questions. So hopefully that answers your question, Richard. I didn't mean to be harsh on that one. I just I've tried doing like I get a lot of guys like new competitors. I think it's one thing to try multiple classes, but I think once you're an advanced competitor, especially on the national stage, you just need to specialize. If you're going to be really good at it, just pick one and specialize.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes guys will do multiple classes thinking they have a better shot at winning a pro card that way. If you're taking multiple swings at it, I would just do different shows. Like if you wanted to do Masters Nationals and then follow up with North Americans, which is like a month later, and just do Classic. But that's what I would advise if I were a coach.
Yeah, so that's a good strategy.
Okay. Joshua Moore. I'm not sure what was the outcome bounce with the Nick and Bob.
I think he meant
argument.
between
okay.
the Nick and Bob argument. Well, I would say after yesterday that Nick won that handily. Didn't Bob say he'd never place above 8th?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Bob's just got a big mouth and needs to keep it shut. He hangs out with Sean Ray. That's all you need to know about him.
I think Nick's going to find a way to have the last laugh by the time it's all said and done between those two for sure. Yeah. And you're right. If anything, Nick just kind of got one more punch in the other day for sure.
You know what we call that? Drink some more haterade, Bob.
Drink some more haterade. I like that.
yeah, that's what we used to say when we were haters. Gotta hate.
Did you ever see what they said about kind of on the same topic? Did you ever see what that announcer said about Sam Sulek, calling him
yeah, I saw that. That was pretty harsh.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was way harsher than Bob, but uncalled for.
Yeah, it was unnecessary. He's just a kid. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
You're a grown ass man. He's a fucking college kid. That could be your son.
Yeah.
I mean, just shut the fuck up. Seriously. I mean, like, that bothers me, man. Like he's still growing up, man. Leave him the fuck alone. I mean, how many kids are 21, 22 years old doing what he's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he keeps his.
Talk about the haterade.
Yeah. Well, Sam Sulek keeps it classy, I thought. I mean, he keeps his mouth shut. He really doesn't suggest anything. He talks about him and himself. He's not really promoting much of anything.
That's because he knows he's going out there and getting it done. When you're getting it done, you don't need to prove anything to anybody.
Yeah.
I would say fuck that guy. That would be I'm not as nice as some people, but I just like, there's nothing worse than a salty hater that's never accomplished what he's just probably somebody who didn't do well and it's just salty, or they're just stirring controversy. There's also that strategy. I don't know. It bothers me because I have kids that are not much, different than Sam's age. That could be my fucking kid out there. I'd be ready to blast somebody in the face if they said that about my kid. Okay. Gadgets. What's the worst text result you've seen? Inaccuracy. Asking for a coaching client. Big Paul. LL. What do you find that skews the results the most? I actually had an experience yesterday. This was the worst one I've seen. I had a client I suggested, and I feel bad. My client Paul, who went in and got a DEXA scan, and it was just way off. Like I've never seen one that far off before. And it's read him at 4%, like 4% body fat, and I would say he's probably 10 or 12.
Wow.
I think they have if I recall correctly, they have an average average discrepancy ratio of about plus or minus 2% either direction. But I've never seen one be that far off before. I mean, certainly hydration can play a role in it, but my guess would be is the technician either screwed up, because you have to enter in their height, basically their height, their weight. There's a bunch of statistics you have to enter in, and if that's wrong, that throws the whole fucking thing off. Or if the machine's not calibrated properly.
Yeah.
It is an algorithm at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a big swing.
Yeah, and like I just don't. To me, that just doesn't seem like the machine was calibrated. So this one I would say was about 5 to 6% off, which is disappointing after you go spend $150 or whatever it is to get those results. But if I were him, I would complain and go back and get another DEXA done.
You can just visually see a huge difference between 4% and 12%.
Oh yeah, I mean, one time I read out at 4.9, and I was fucking shredded when I was 4.9. My show last year, I was 5, like high fives, 5.8, 5.9, something like that. I don't remember. Richard Noren. I finished second twice and missed my pro card. About one place in class. Man, that's close. So close, man. Just keep going. You'll get it. Let's see if there's any other questions here. It's funny. Grown-ass man acting like a child, hating on a kid is absolutely the most pathetic thing. Sam has a lot of tact and humility. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, man. Be a fucking grown-up. I mean, seriously. Yeah.
Well, if your main complaint is, guys pushing hard apparently to turn pro at a young age, everyone that he mentioned as an example turned pro in their early 20s. Look at Ian Valliere, Sean Ray, all these guys that are talking about, they turned pro in their early 20s, and I'm sure they maybe not cut corners, but pushed hard,
Well, also keep in mind, just because they're giants, I mean, they look like giants when they're 20, 21. They're still you're not fully mentally developed at that point. I don't feel like I was like my adult self until my late 20s.
Yeah.
I was still an adolescent in many ways in my early 20s. And I think most of us, if we reflect on it, were.
Yeah.
So cut a fucking kid a break. Seriously.
Yeah. And he can only beat who's on stage. So it's the guy won.
Was the competition a little thin there for the classic? Yeah, but I mean,
that's out of his control.
Yeah, right. I mean, he put the best possible physique on the stage that he could put on the stage, and he beat the people that were in front of him. That's what they say in sports. You can only beat the person on the other side of the field. You can't control anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very public stage too. It's not like he was trying to hide it by doing tiny little shows. I mean, he literally went for the amateur Arnold for his second show ever. That's a huge stage with a lot of publicity. It wasn't like he put it out there. I mean, just for that alone, that takes some balls.
Yeah, no, I give him balls because he had everything to lose, nothing to gain, really.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be competing with pros, so we'll see how he stacks up.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Okay. Let's see what I've got next. Let me take that one. Okay. Big Paul caught that 2.5 milligrams of tirzepatide drop. Is that a weekly bolus or do you microdose? And if not, any plans to shift that way? Unfortunately, with the applicator they give you, there's no way to microdose. It injects the whole fucking thing at one time. So I can't split the doses up even if I wanted to. The prescription applicator, it's this wild thing. I put a picture up last week of it, but it's an auto injector. You hold the thing up to your stomach and you push a button and it lowers the needle down and then it injects all the fluid and pulls the needle back out. It's fucking crazy. I've never seen anything like that. So yeah, I don't have a choice. They made no excuses, likely shouldn't have pursued what they wanted. Props on that. Yep. Yeah, Richard, you're welcome, Richard. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound like I was fucking beating you up, man. That wasn't my intention. Sorry about that. I'm just being direct. I just think that you always have the best chance if you just put everything into one and go after it. That's kind of mine.
It makes sense. You're going for a peak at a certain moment. I mean, trying to catch both, you might as well prioritize one. and then you could probably make some adjustments for Thursday if you still want to be as competitive as possible. You know, they're 1 day apart. I think that's good advice for sure.
I'm not sure what this guy's saying. Do you guys have a plan to move back to a Saturday show since figure Steve's retirement? I mean, I can move back to Saturday. I don't give a fuck. I just did Sunday because Chase said Sunday's better for him. But then Chase is not here, so I also didn't want to conflict with Steve because I like having Steve on here and there.
Yeah.
When he can make it. But yeah, Steve is retiring from the live Q&As and focusing on his soon to be family, which is exciting. I think his wife is due soon, like June, right? May, June.
Soon. Mm-hmm.
Gonna have a baby and 9 cats. He's gonna have his hands full.
Rice, what do I want to pull? If you're interested, you can remove the trizepatide from the auto injector into a sterile vial for you when you. That sounds like too much work to me.
Well, if you were going to do that, you could just buy it through other means.
You know, it's funny. I used to be on the microdosing bandwagon, taking shit every day, and I did that for a while. And it's certainly, you know, you do get more stable hormone levels, but I have reverted back to just being a lazy fuck and doing weekly injections. I just like, I don't know. I get so tired of taking shots. I just fucking hate it.
Well, I think when you talk about the GLP-1s, though, it's a little different, though. Like, I mean, there is a purpose for maybe wanting to skew towards a bolus dose versus breaking it up. I mean, if you really, it seems like from what we've come to find out, if you really use a bolus dose for your weekly dose, you're going to get more appetite suppression for at least that 5-day span, where you could probably get secondary benefits of better glucose management and nutrient uptake and GIP effect from doing microdose. So I guess it's really how are you using it and why you're using it, again, when we talk about some of these substances.
Yeah, I know
bolus doses for me was just roughs at the day after. Even a light dose of Retta, I'd get a real good nausea, and breaking it up did the trick. You know,
it's funny because if I remember reading, I could be wrong about this, but from when I read the clinical trial, I recall them saying that they did try multiple dosing schedules and people reported less side effects from the big dose once a week. Right. I think you get the side effects the next day, but then things level back off. But I also think you get stronger appetite suppression.
Yeah. Well, that's what I seem to have noticed for sure. Yeah.
Tina had a great question about HGH frag, but I asked her to repost it, but she's headed to yoga, so it's probably way up in the stream.
What was the question?
She was asking, I think, the difference between frag versus just HGH for fat loss. But
I mean, from what I understand, fragment is the portion of the HGH that is lipotic. It doesn't have any of the IGF-1 or growth effects. It's simply just the part that causes lipolysis, in theory.
Right.
If I recall correctly.
Did anybody use it?
I've used it, and I just, by the time you, money-wise, by the time you
just use HGH.
Just use HGH.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like some of these secretagogues, by the time you're doing, tesamorelin and then this CJC, and you add them up, and then you got to think of timing. Like some of these peptides are a little different for the secretagogues. You got to make sure timing's in place. You got to have empty belly on some of them, take them fasted, which is not, it's already tough enough making sure that you got all your ducks in line.
I took it and I don't think it does shit, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things that if you got the money to burn, it's probably not going to hurt anything. You might get some benefit from it. But I'm just like, just take HGH. That's kind of my take on this stuff. Like, I don't know, just do the real thing. It's the same thing like guys taking SARMs.
Yeah.
and trying to keep some semblance of a natty status, and the SARMs actually are worse for side effects and don't work as well.
With frag, you can still have difficulties with glucose management. So at that point, you might as well already take the HGH and get all the other positive effects. It's not like you're skipping that because of the lipotic part of the frag anyhow.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you want the other benefits of the HGH?
Sure.
And also, like, I think there are, if budget's limited, I think there are better options for fat burning that are probably
yeah.
cheaper.
Right?
I'd absolutely agree.
Yeah, like take a GLP-1.
You know, that's actually kind of funny you mentioned that. That's one thing I've actually slowly come full circle around is I'm really kind of trying to get a lot of my people to not use as many stimulants for fat burners as we once used to. You know, I've really just noticed that people just look better, taking their time, dieting well, and not hammering these stimulants. Man, nothing gets you more run down than no sleep and being on the go all the time.
Well, it's all the fucking sympathetic nervous system fatigue, man, that accumulates from taking all the stimulants.
Yeah.
You know, AJ was kind of in my ear last year, and I'm like telling him, like, I can't fucking sleep with this trend and all this ephedrine and stuff. And he's like, then just don't take it. I'm like, okay. So I didn't, and I looked better when I slept. I looked better. Funny how that works.
Well, I got one of my Masters competitors. We're on our 3rd year of competing, and this year we did no stimulants, no ECY stack, nothing, and no clenbuterol. And we just started using MOTS-C and SLU. And the sleep quality is better. The fat burning potential's been there, and he's in the best shape he's ever been. So
the way I have been doing it lately with my preps, I am trying to lean away from the stimulants a bit, but sometimes they are necessary.
Yeah.
I still think, you know, I've tried everything. I still think hands down clenbuterol is the best fat burner.
Yeah.
I just haven't found anything that works better than clen.
With women, it seems like that's probably number one for some reason. That clen.
But I think people take way too much of it. Like, I don't think you need as much as you think you do. Like, I remember, goddamn, I remember back in the early 90s, guys were taking, or late 90s, early 2000s, dudes were taking 200, 300 micrograms.
Yikes.
That was not unheard of. I remember doing cuts and taking 200 micrograms of clen, and like last year, I don't think I ever went over 60.
Yeah.
60 or 80 gets the job done. And like at the end of the day, like really, like how much of a difference is it going to make? I mean, you look at the marginal, there is a dosing curve, and like it just kind of tails off. Like it's, you know, the difference from 60 to 200 is, you know, maybe a couple percent.
Yeah.
And of difference. And really, like that's just, you know, walk 5 minutes more.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you're just adding more stress. I really have, I got to get AJ on for an interview, but I've been doing this mentorship with him. But like one of the big things, and I know I've talked about it, that he is huge on is managing fatigue and digestion and gut health and recovery while on prep. I mean, he calls it rest, digest, and recovery is the priority on prep. And like his guys always look the best. They do, like, and I think I like that, you know, and Justin's pretty good with it too. Justin's definitely aggressive with the food on prep. He starts putting food back in at the end, which I've been trying to be more aggressive with too. I've been like, kind of my strategy with prep recently has been to really mash the gas pedal down in that like 10 to 12 weeks out to about 2 to 3 weeks out. Portion of it. I start off easy, then I get aggressive kind of in the middle part of it, and then like hopefully we're looking pretty good by about 2 weeks out, and then we can start pulling the cardio back a little bit, putting some food back in. But it's really just case by case. I mean, some people we need to drive them into the ground all the way up to the end. It just you know, just how it plays out. But ideally, if you don't get fat in the off season, you're going to be in a much better spot. Did I show you guys the pictures of my client Reese? I did. He came over to me after his show last year, and I worked with him this off season and got him back up to the same weight. He was on a higher fat diet before, and we went to the carb cycling and kept the fats lower and got aggressive with the carb cycling. But I just show you the difference in body composition. You tell me if you think this guy is going to look better on stage. We're starting prep this week. So that was last year. Same weight.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, wrong one. That's Kevin. Same weight. I mean, look, he's still got lines in his glutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looks like he brought up his quads a bit too.
Yeah, I mean, essentially same body weight at the end of the off season.
That's
Chest
crazy.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
so
a big difference. I mean, look at what you and I have done. I mean, each prep's been a lot easier. Coming into
Yeah.
prep being in shape is a big deal.
and that's what I tell people, you know, and I'm proud of him for the hard work he put in. Dude's a hard worker, but like if you can keep your shit together in the off season and you get aggressive with your food, not aggressive with fats, if you get aggressive with the carbs and do some carb cycling, you can come out of it with better body composition. And if you go into prep, you know, I don't know where his body fat is at, but I'd say he's probably 10%. If I were to guess, 10 to 12, somewhere in that range. And probably he was closer to 20.
Yeah.
And those other picks. So
What's the difference in his intake? I mean, you said he was on a high fat diet before, but like overall kind of calories.
Calories are highest they've ever been.
Nice.
So I just shows you nutrient partition and how macronutrients are, if you think about it, like and I think this is the mistake, I'm going to make a video about it. This is a mistake that most bros make on contest prep going into the off season is they just think it's a calorie game and going into the off season, and it's not just a calorie game. We've definitely learned that, Dave. It is a macronutrient game that you're playing.
Well, it's an assimilation game. Like what can you actually assimilate?
Yeah.
And if you're eating the guys that they'll push the fats high, they'll have high fat and high carbohydrates going into the offseason, specifically high saturated fats. You know, they're eating a dozen eggs and ribeyes and shit like that along with their, and I used to do the same thing. I did the same shit, but what do you think the outcome is going to be with body composition? Versus, you know, if you're mixing saturated fats with carbohydrates, your body's going to prioritize glucose as a fuel source, and then you're just going to get fat. Any of those fats that you're eating, lipids are already prepackaged and ready to be stored.
Yeah, and like myself also noticing like today's my last day. I'm going to be 21 weeks out. Yesterday, normally I was going to take like 2 weeks off or to 4 weeks off before I start prep, like kind of a holding phase. But I've noticed my insulin sensitivity's kind of not been as impressive lately, so I'm going to just have a nice smooth transition into
and that that happens at the end of the off season. That's why we shift into that's another thing, I reiterate, do a hard cut once a year.
But I mean,
whether you compete or not,
they'll go right in the they'll climb their weight up and then they drop right into a
I like to hold for a good 6 weeks or so at the end, pull down to a cruise and hold.
Yeah, like Amy says, a smooth assimilation into that next phase. It really makes a difference.
Your body does strive for homeostasis. All right, guys, I have got to wrap this up. I got to go pick up my son from his Top Golf adventure. Golf is a game that I do not understand or play or get at all. I know Justin is big into golf right now, but Godspeed to my son. If he wants to play golf, I will not be out there with him. If he wants to bodybuild, he knows where to find me. He wants to play basketball, I can do that too. I even used to play tennis. I wasn't a half bad tennis player at one point in my life. I'm not going to win Wimbledon or anything, but I'm not half bad, and I'm a very mediocre jiu-jitsu practitioner. I'm better at bodybuilding than other stuff. All right, folks, have a great day. We'll see you